Where's everyone going? Bingo?
G'day YouTube, welcome to this week's video. My name's Mark and we will be looking at the Resident Evil 4 chainsaw demo this week, which I think is a pretty good timing considering Resident Evil 4, the full release of the remake, is just around the corner. And it's actually got some pretty interesting features baked into the graphics settings of the game. Which is good news for people with older hardware. Some of you might have heard of Fidelity FX Super Resolution before, or Deep Learning Super Sampling, or DLSS. They're both styles of upscaling technology. One is a hardware upscaler, which is ran by NVIDIA, which is DLSS, and the other, made by AMD, which is Fidelity FX Super Resolution, is a software side upscaler which actually uses an algorithm to upscale images and potentially get more performance out of your PC and allow you to run at a higher frame rate that you may not have been able to run at before. This is pretty compelling because while DLSS runs on 20 series NVIDIA cards and above, it doesn't actually run on 10 series video cards because 10 series video cards don't have the CUDA cores or the hardware parts in them to allow them to run DLSS. Well, AMD have actually one-upped NVIDIA on this one a little bit because Fidelity FX Super Resolution actually runs on both NVIDIA and AMD cards. So the old 10 series and 16 series cards that can't run DLSS can actually run Fidelity FX Super Resolution. Now, on the Steam hardware survey, over 30% of gamers are still running a 10 series or a 16 series card. So Fidelity FX Super Resolution actually becomes a pretty compelling thing because that allows you to run at a higher frame rate that you may not have actually been able to run your game at before. Now, one thing to note, there's no such thing as a free lunch. There is always a catch. As it is a software style upscaler, it is taking a lower resolution image and then upscaling it to the resolution that you're playing the game at, whether that be 4K, 1440p, or 1080p. It's taking an image that is a lower quality than that image, upscaling it using an algorithm and then displaying it on your screen. Now, it does net you more frames per second, but it can come at a hit to the actual quality of the image on the screen. During my testing, I found that the performance setting for Fidelity FX Super Resolution wasn't really worth it. It was quite subpar, to be incredibly honest. And though the other settings actually did net us some pretty decent performance gains in relation to our 1% lows and our 0.1% lows, and without sacrificing too much of an image quality. I actually found that it was quite playable. So let's jump in and have a look. I think it's actually pretty good news for people who have older hardware with this particular game. I know a lot of people are excited about it, and Fidelity FX Super Resolution might actually help you get the best out of this game on your older hardware. Before we turn on FSR, let's have a look at how the game performs without it turned on. This is so we can establish a baseline on how our system handles the game without any upscaling happening. I found that I was getting around 55 frames per second average, with my 1% lows hanging around the 25 FPS, which was surprisingly good. Capcom have been on fire recently with their PC ports on games, and this is no exception. It wasn't all roses, however, because I noticed that what could only be described as a jittering when moving the camera around. This may be resolved with the full release of the game, so bear that in mind. Moving on to the quality preset, we noticed immediately that I had an impact to a frame rate, and after some testing, it was sitting around an average of 60 FPS, which is right on the money and what we're aiming for, and our 1% lows were now at a really impressive 40 frames per second. It really blew me away how well it improved the overall feel of the game without real noticeable difference in the quality of the image. The jittering, however, did not go away. It was still quite noticeable on the movement of the camera, especially looking up at things like the sky or dense vegetation areas. So I wanted to test the other presets to see if we could actually eliminate this. Next on our test lineup was the balance preset, and I don't want to say we found the holy grail, but we kind of found the holy grail. On balance settings with high textures, we managed to get a buttery smooth gameplay experience with not too much of an impact on our visual quality. Also, the jittering when moving the camera was completely eliminated. The frame rate sat at a rock solid 60 FPS, and our 1% lows never really dipping below the 30 FPS, even during the big fight scenes in the demo. We also managed to push the texture filtering up a notch without any real impact to our frames, so it's safe to say that this is where you want to be settings wise if your PC isn't exactly the fastest car on the track. Up on screen now we have the FPS comparisons between the different settings we went through today in the video, and it's safe to say that Capcom has a real winner on their hands as far as performance and older hardware is concerned. Not to mention that the RE series has been kicking goals over the last couple of years. I'm sure that there are a lot of people really hyped to play this game, and it's great to know that they'll be able to have a good experience even if they don't have the latest and greatest gaming hardware. Anyway, that's everything from me this week. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care everyone. Bye for now.